Sagittarius. I hope you had amazing holidays. It's not quite over. New Year's is in a few days. For that, I'm celebrating sort of the end of the year by doing a Celtic cross for you. We're going to dive right in. I am starting though with a creativity oracle card to get some words of wisdom for you. And let's see what these might be. This card really wants to come out, so we'll take it. It reads time. Time can be seen to be both linear and spiral. Circle back to explore concepts from the past and create the future. Yeah, I really enjoy the spiral because basically you get to revise, you grow. Obviously, you can think of the upward spiral, definitely. Leveling up, right? Constantly. So now let's do the Celtic cross for you. Okay. Overall energy, the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Crossing you is the Seven of Cups. Crowning you is the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Your foundation is the Knight of Swords in reverse. In your near recent past, it's the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Near future is the Queen of Rods, Queen of Wands in reverse. Your power is the Six of Swords in reverse. Your environment is the Devil in reverse. Hopes and fears, the Eight of Cups in reverse. And finally, we have the only second card upright. So the outcome is the Magician. I'm glad to see the Magician as an outcome, because I haven't really looked yet, but whatever difficulties, if any, in the previous cards that are laid here, the Magician has the power to change things through creation. So that is extremely powerful. We are all creators, and we tend to forget. But it's right there, it's available to us, so I'm really pleased to see that. And maybe in your case, time plays a role in terms of how things not just evolve, because we are all on a timeline, but I think in this case, a little bit of how this Magician, so I guess how you would choose to experience, trying something, looking at it, tweaking a few things, so reviewing, revising, and then moving on, right? So a little bit of a back and forth motion along a particular line or along a spiral up, whichever way you choose to look at it. But making sure that your next steps are solid, just for having taken the time to do better, to improve. Just a thought, but it's definitely possible. Okay, so it's interesting because your main energy here for the Celtic is both making a choice and having, obviously many choices. So maybe you are making one particular choice, amidst, right, a whole array of choices, of options, I should say. You know, in the foundation in the recent past, we have two knights. They don't have to be people, but we do have a third person in the near future. Apologies. So, and the fourth card at crowning is a 3, 3 of Pentacles. So it's ironic that the core of the reading describes basically making a choice out of many options, and it's laid out here more than explicitly that we have a triangle. So, and the devil is in the environment. I'm glad to see it's in reverse. So there's a desire to move on, and yet in your power there's not moving forward, and in your hopes and fears is the same energy. It's about staying in one place. So maybe someone in the environment out of the triangle will move out of the equation. I mean, it's a really interesting reading in the sense that it's very simple, yet I'm sure I can read it differently. So this is one possibility, but let me just finish and because it was a triangle and because the 3 of Pentacles is in reverse, you're gonna laugh, but some triangles do work, and some people do want to live a triangular relationship called open relationship or whatever they want to call it, right? It exists. In this case, the 3 of Pentacles is in reverse, so this was not an option anyway. This is, or maybe this particular combination between these 3 people wouldn't allow for that. It's a possibility. We are in 2023 almost, right? I'm saying that because I believe we should take into consideration the many ways that people live their lives. That's all I meant. Okay, there's the Magician is really interesting in this particular spread, especially within the story of the triangle. I think that this is my interpretation, you don't have to agree, but I will try to read all of these cards totally differently afterward, but I'm just going to finish on this particular story. You do have 2 people, right? Always a couple being chained on the devil, and the Magician stands alone. So here, there's 2 people, I believe, that will choose, and this is not negative, they will choose passion. They will live out passion. So 2 of these people will couple, and I believe the third one will stay separate and choose to focus on something else. And I think time is really interesting in this context. The fact that this particular word, which encompasses so much, right? Which is so tied in with our realities. I find it on point in this particular reading because it might sound obvious, but only time, it's like time was the magic maker of all this. I don't know if you understand. It's not even a person here. It's not even just you as a manifestor or creator or anyone else around you. It's really the, let's call it the ethers or source or whatever you want to call it, right? Here it's time, but it's this concept, if you want, that something greater, something you can't see, something you can't really grasp, is at play and has had a big influence on everything that has played out here. There's definitely uncomfortable energies for you a little bit, Sag, in the sense that there is some form of it might not necessarily be being stuck fully, but definitely when you do come back on the past, I mean, you do dwell. So there is some form of looking back, thinking back, nostalgia, a little bit of it's still present. It's there. It says it's in your power, which is interesting because your outcome will be to wield your power and probably create something new for yourself, right? So let's presume, Sagittarius, that you're the person that will not end up, since in your environment, this couple will come together in a very strong way, right? Very fusional, very bonded way. Not to say negatively, although it's the devil, it is in reverse. So it's more of the great attraction and the inseparable or the impression of inseparableness, if that exists as a word. So anyway, the two knights are air and earth. We have fire for you as the queen. I would say it's simply, none of those cards are gender specific, of course not. So you can identify with whichever one. I do believe you would be the fiery one, of course, being Sagittarius, your fire sign. And it's not because there's a man and a woman on the devil that it has to be that kind of a couple. It can be, same sex, of course. Anyway, let's try and read these cards completely differently. I'm sure it's possible. The onset is the same. The start of the reading is basically making a choice, having many options. So that could be positive, and sometimes it's more difficult because when you have too many choices, it might be more difficult, right, to choose, especially if the things or whatever you have to choose out of is pretty similar, right? Which brings me back to, because we have two knights, I don't know that, I'm interpreting this differently, so they don't have to be people, but these two energies are quite similar. So that is part of the equation. I do want to keep the queen as well as an energy of one of these many options. For sure. It resembles the prior interpretation, but it's more opened, but it's still having a choice between at least three things, three directions, I want to say moments. I want to say moments because we have the notion of time. So there could be particular actions you need to make in time. You might know what they are. You might have You might not know what they are yet, but somewhat it makes sense here to say that it could be choosing your moments, 3 specific moments, or you might have had those during 2022. They might have been really decisive moments, I believe they would. I think that the cards that show us that you're stuck or not moving on or not being able to separate yourself maybe easily are due to some of the choices being very similar. Again, being paralyzed in front of a choice, not really knowing which direction to take, which actions to make, to do. The Devil card becomes really like a different energy in this particular interpretation, because it feels that you would have, I guess, overcome or outgrow either past experiences or past choices that out of the many that you have here on the Seven of Cups, only 3 remain. So you would have already discarded 4, just to go with the number 7 and saying you remain, 3 remain, then you would have discarded 4, right? It's a possibility. But the idea here is mainly to say that you would have discarded something in your environment already, and you're down to the last few. I think that you're empowered to make the right choice for you. I believe you need maybe a little bit more time. You might need to come back a little bit, like I was describing, tweak, move on, or move up, you know, whichever way you want to see it. Keep going. Out of the choices that you have, what I find really interesting, first of all, before I go there, any of the choices that you make and the ones that you've discarded, I want you to know that you've had I don't know if it's sadness really, but you've had a hard time making some of those choices, especially the first few ones, that the things that you've initially discarded. I think that it wasn't so easy. I feel a lot of resistance here, a lot. So even out of those many options, you were really interested by many. They were somewhat all valid, which is really interesting, because it's not necessarily true. I mean, it's not readily true. You know what I mean? In your case, it's they might have obviously had differences and everything, right? Some weighed more than others, but it's still that you felt that any of the ones that you've discarded, it was still difficult to do that. Not sure what was tying you to those choices. I'm not sure what they are now that we're discussing, that it might not be people, right? We're doing the second interpretation. So, but let's go to let's talk about those choices in terms of energies, right? You have earth element, air, and fire. So the second interpretation is definitely not about love. So there could be there's a practical approach that I feel that you find is, although you need time and time is your ally in this case, you do find that it's taking too long. There's something there that is taking a little too long for you. Not sure what that is. It's just an energy. On the Knight of Swords, it's the opposite. It's something that's way too fast. Like it's almost like there are things that are being overlooked, or it's just going too fast. It's like cutting corners a little bit as well. So there's something there. And then we have the Queen of Rods. For me, this would be the avenue if you were to choose something, really, ultimately, if and when you do, because it's where the most passion lies. It's a place where your desires are honored. It's a place where I want to really feel out, because the two nights we're talking about precisely speed and timing. And here I'm not sensing that on the Queen of Rods. So it feels, the reason I paused so long felt like it's out of time, right? It's outside of, not that I can, but you know what I mean. It has a different feeling. You know what I know what it is. I know so much what it is. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that came up, that it actually dawned on me. You know when you really love to do something and time flies, basically you're in the moment, so much in the moment, in the present, because you love what you do. You're totally immersed. This is exactly the feeling. So then time disappears. It's neither too slow, neither too fast. It's just not there. You're just in the moment. Because the present is always like so, I mean, it's thinner than a hair. You know, because as soon as I've already spoken this, it's in the past, right? You know what I mean? Just how much being in the moment can be. Anyways, that's what it feels like. It's just a beautiful reading. So either way, there's two interpretations here for like different folks, different people. So I hope something resonated for you. That would be my wish. And I'm gonna do a yearly reading soon, so be on the lookout for that. And please do like, share, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Happy New Year. Bye bye.